Hey Stampers, welcome to Brandy's Cards. So today we're going to watercolor. You know, Stampin' Up! Just released their 2015-2016 annual catalog. It's fantastic. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And I know most of you guys have gotten your catalogs, I hope, and I hope that you're enjoying them as much as I am. So one of the biggest hits, I think, in the catalog are new kits, which are fantastic. On page 155, I believe it is, there is this new Watercolor Wishes card kit. It is fantastic. I love this kit. You can see it right here on page 155, and it's not going to be available until July. However, I love the kit. I'm so excited to get it. And so I decided, as I was looking at the different watercolored backgrounds, I thought, you know what, I didn't see a solid watercolored background. So I thought, you know what, let's see what we can make on our own before this kit comes out and is available. So anyway, what I decided to do is I pulled out the Market Fresh stamp set. Really cute stamp set, lots of fun. I love fruit, I love vegetables, and you know, we're a big strawberry family here, and I just thought the Just Right For You was really cute. But my favorite, I think, is the Let Us Celebrate. Now, it's not let us, you know, it's let us celebrate. And I thought it was perfect for what we were doing here and the way the colors all worked together. So that is the card that we're going to make today, this one right here. Very fun. This background is watercolor paper. It's 140-pound paper, so it's nice and sturdy. It's very thick. That's what I love about the Stampin' Up! Watercolor paper, is it really accepts the water and the ink really well. The absorption is great. And so as you can see, this is not a card that opens up. This is just my background. And the part of the card that opens up for the surprise is you've got your Let Us Celebrate, and then you open it up, and then I just kind of made a little gift card holder on the inside. So you can see here, Let Us Celebrate, open it up, and let's meet at Olive Garden for a celebration, okay? And you know, right here, I wasn't sure what this card was going to be used for. I made one for our teacher. She loves Olive Garden, and so I thought this would be great. And then I put Let Us Celebrate on the front, and then here on the inside I put, you know, that it was the end of school. And it turned out really cute. Or you could put For You, or that you're awesome, or whatever, happy birthday. But there's lots of things to celebrate. So you can just stick your gift card right in there, and there you have it. All right, so today's card is pretty simple. You're going to need some Stampin' Up! Watercolor paper. And you know, I just kind of pulled out a package of it here to kind of show you what it looks like. This is how it comes. I believe there's 5 in here. It's $5. It's 140 pounds. So again, it's very sturdy, very thick. It's very nice paper. I highly recommend you giving it a try. So when I started to play with this technique, I just used some watercolor paper that was some scrap paper, just because I was just trying to figure out what I liked. And so this kind of gave me a starting place so that I didn't ruin my good Stampin' Up! Paper. Although, you know, sometimes the mistakes make the best projects and the best cards. So all of the sizes and dimensions will be on brandyscards.com. And I have lots of questions that come in. They say, Brandy, I can't find the link to the video I'm looking for. Well, that's okay. All you have to do is go to the navigation bar, which is across the top of brandyscards.com. You'll see the word videos, and click on that, and you'll see all of my videos. They'll be all right there. So just look for this project, or any project that you might like to make. Click on it, and wham kabammo, they'll come right up. Hopefully, they'll come right up. If they don't, you let me know, and I'll make sure to get you that link. So today we're going to start out with some water. I bought this little bottle at Walgreens, I believe. Love these little guys. It's just got water inside of it. I've got my Stays On for my image. I've got Daffodil Delight and Wild Wasabi Reinker. Today I'm going to use the Aqua Painter. If you haven't used the Aqua Painter before, this is a handy dandy tool for watercoloring. Love it. As you can see, as I move the pen back and forth, this is actually water inside the pen. And then you have your paintbrush tip. So I love my Aqua Painter, and I use it often. So here's my watercolor paper, just a flat piece of paper. I've got my water. I'm going to just spray my paper and just get it all wet. Now, you know, you don't want to, like, in a sense, saturate it, but you do want to get it wet. So I'm going to take my reinker, and I'm just going to drop one right here in the center. And what I love about it is you can kind of see how the color sort of spreads. Then I'm going to take my reinker bottle, and I'm just going to use that to kind of move my color around. See how fun that is? Now you can make this lighter or darker depending on how much water you put on there. And so I'm going to take my re-inker again and I'm going to drop another little drop right there. And so again, you can kind of let it get kind of concentrated, or you can kind of use your re-inker to kind of move, or your water to kind of push it around. Now one thing I like to do is I kind of like it spotty. I like it a little lighter, a little darker. I don't really necessarily need to think the whole thing needs to be covered up. You know what I mean? I kind of like it a little lighter, a little darker, and that kind of thing. And I don't mind a little bit of white or the creamy color from the watercolor paper. So I'm using my aqua painter to kind of just move the color around a little bit. Now I know you guys are like, oh my gosh, Brandy, your paper is doing a back bend, right? And you're like, now how is that gonna work? Well, just hang tight, don't go anywhere, and I'm gonna show you how to fix that. All right, so this is all pretty light, as you can see. I mean, it looks fantastic, but it's pretty light. So let's take our water and let's go ahead and get it wet again. I'm gonna take another drop and I'm gonna just kind of put it over here to this side, because I'm kind of hoping that this will sort of maybe make my side of my cardstock a little bit darker over here. So I'm gonna use my aqua painter and kind of help it. And again, you can just spray it a little bit, and by just lightly spritzing it, you can see how it starts to run and it starts to kind of make its own beautiful shade. And then the aqua painter, of course, that, you know, you can just use that to kind of help fill in the gaps or to kind of move the color around as you wish. So over here, I kind of like this area. So let's just go ahead and put a little more water and do one more dark one. I shouldn't say dark, just darker. Yellow right over here. Ooh, I like it. So now it's kind of running down my card. See that? And so, you know, I wanted this a little bit darker over here just to kind of add a little bit of, you know, interest to the card because it's watercolored. And, you know, to add a little bit of interest, some little lights and darks and that sort of thing. Now, here in the center, sometimes you will get the little spots here in the center from where you started. That is okay. Because you know what, we're putting our lettuce on the top, so it doesn't matter. So don't get too caught up in that, because we're going to cover that. All right, well, I think this is perfect. Hopefully you guys like it as well. I think I love it, and it's pretty easy to do. I think I like how all the color has run. So I'm just going to wipe my brush off. This is how you clean an aqua painter. You just kind of swipe it back and forth on cardstock, paper, paper towel, whatever you have available. All right, so now to get this dry, because right now it's doing a back bend, it's not flat. So we are gonna turn on our heat tool. I love my Stampin' Up! Heat tool because it has 2 settings. I'm gonna go ahead and use the second setting for embossing. And now you don't wanna burn a hole to this paper, so you don't wanna just keep it in the same spot for a long time. But the neat part about this paper, because it is so durable, it's just so durable and it's just got that fabulous stiffness and it absorbs really well. As you heat it, and as that water dries, you're gonna see it flatten out, which I think is super, super cool. Look at that. So let's see here. Now again, you don't wanna stay in the same spot. Kinda gotta move around a little bit, because if you stay in the same spot, you might start to get that smell and you're like, ah, I'm burning it. Trust me. But see how it just dries it and it just sort of flattens that paper out? I think that's like super cool. Really cool. So just kind of move yourself around here. And what I even thought was neat is, you know, if it's still, you know, it's still maybe a little warped, that means it's still kind of wet. Not wet, it's just damp. So maybe we just need to dry this area a little bit more. And again, you don't want to stay in the same spot. You don't want it to get burned necessarily. But you just want to dry it so that it will flatten out a little bit more. Kind of moving around. There you go. And I think I'm just about done. Yep, I think I'm just about done. It's looking pretty good. Just kind of flatten it out just a wee bit more right here in the center. Okay. All right, so I'm going to set my heat tool down. And there you have your watercolor cardstock. Now, I love it. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, and I hope you guys like it too. Super easy to do, and I'm going to show you a couple of the cards that, well, one that I finished and the other one I was working on. And I haven't actually finished it yet, but I've colored it, so I'm excited to show that to you. But I have played with the pinks, I've played with the blues and the greens, and it all turns out fantastic. So here's the yellow Daffodil Delight. Now what we're going to do is I have Stays On black. I've got my Let Us Celebrate. You're going to want to move your paper towel out of the way, okay? And the reason the paper towel was there because we were working with the water. But you're going to want to move it out of the way because you don't want to stamp on top of the paper towel. Your image isn't going to be as nice. So I'm inking up my Let Us Celebrate with Stays On black. I have my watercolor paper cut to size. And you know, you want to make sure that your Stays On black is nice and juicy. And when you stamp it, you want to make sure you push it really good and just hold it for a second to give that black some time to absorb into that paper. It's really important. You really want it to absorb into the cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and close my black. And the reason that I like to keep that closed is because you don't want your Stays On pad to kind of get air, dry out a little bit, because you want it to be really pretty saturated in there. We have the Stays On reinkers, and so before we started this video, I actually put some reinkers in there because when you're watercoloring, you really want a good saturation. So here's the Let Us Celebrate. It's great. Now, my rule of thumb is you always set it aside and let it dry. So I went ahead and I've stamped another one, so we are good to go there. And we're going to watercolor this one as well. So this is our watercolor thank you. It just so happens to be. This is one of the cases for that stamp set. It's missing in action right now, and you guys are laughing at me. I know you guys know when you start crafting, things just go everywhere. And so it's here. I'm just not sure exactly where right this second. So we're going to use the box, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Wild Wasabi Green, and before I do that, I'm actually going to squirt some water on my box. Just one squirt of water is probably fine. And then I'm going to put some Wild Wasabi in that water, and I'm going to put a drop of Wild Wasabi over to the left. And so the reason that I'm going to do that is because first off is I want, on the Wild Wasabi in the water, I am looking for a lighter shade. And you can also practice on your cardstock if you want, but I want a lighter shade. I've got the water there, so it's going to thin it out a little bit. So the first thing I like to do is I like to just color all of the leaves or the object that I'm coloring in one quick swoop. And I like it to be lighter than, lighter than the color of the actual Wild Wasabi ink. So see here, all I've done is I've stamped it, and now I'm just using the aqua painter, and I haven't even re-inked it yet. The reason is because I want those lighter shades, and I want to be able to control what I want to be darker or accented. Okay, so here we go. This is it. I've just colored it all one color. Very simple, very easy to do, and that was with the Wild Wasabi that has the water in it. Now we're going to go to the more concentrated one. So all I'm going to do is dab my tip in the more concentrated one, kind of maybe wipe some of that off. And then what I'm going to do is just kind of come in here and with like little feathery strokes, I'm going to basically highlight the image, the dark parts in the image that have already been highlighted, that Stampin' Up! Is already drawn in there for depth and for texture, and to kind of bring it alive. So I am not doing anything crazy, but I'm just kind of feathering over that. And you guys see how that's getting a little bit darker, and it's kind of bringing it to life. It's giving it a little bit of life. And so now remember, while you're coloring with your aqua painter, if you accidentally squeeze it, which, squeezing it is good, but if yours is getting really runny or watery, or it's starting to kind of look like it's getting eaten up, it's just because you've got a lot of water working, and you might want to just take a paper towel and dab it and try to dry it up a little bit, is what I would suggest. Okay, so take a look there. You can see the top part of the lettuce is looking fantastic. I have not moved down yet to the bottom. So you see the difference, how the top looks feathery and it's a little bit darker. It's really starting to bring it to life and pop it off the page. And I'm going to just try to pick up a little bit more color. And the one thing that I love about the watercoloring is, you know, when you grab this darker color, if you're worried that, okay, well, you know, it's starting to look a little streaky, or maybe it's looking a little blotchy, maybe is the right word. Well, that's okay. What we're gonna do then is you're just gonna clear out your brush, just like this. Clear out your brush on your paper, give a little squeeze, just one, don't get too squeezy, and then just kind of go over it, because what it did is it released some water, okay? And so you're just gonna kind of go over it and smooth it out. That is the beauty about watercolor paper, is that you can just go back over it and start to kind of blend those lines. So if you start to get those harsh lines, just give it a good squeeze, and then go in and just kind of, you know, blend those lines a little bit. All right, so we're just about done with this. I'm just going to kind of add a few more lines, just, you know, just for good measure to make sure it's good. And you know, another thing that I'd like to point out is that once you're done watercoloring, the crazy thing is you will find that you will walk away and you'll come back and you'll go, huh, my lettuce looks a little bit lighter. It's kind of crazy because when it dries, it does get lighter. So you might just, you know, let it dry, and then you might just want to go back in and touch it up again, you know, in an hour or so. And it really doesn't honestly take that long to dry. And you could even use your heat tool like we did with our background and dry it again. Okay, so let's move on. So the next thing we're going to do is I have some scrap paper here. It's actually some scrap watercolor paper. And so what you're going to do is you are going to stamp your lettuce, celebrate. Let me grab that. And remember, one thing I think is a lot easier when I'm inking these up to make sure that it's good and juicy. To do it like this, it's really hard for me. So what I do is I give a lot of pressure right here in the center of the Stays On pad, and then I apply it directly to the stamp myself. So just give that a try, and I think that you'll also find that that's pretty easy and a good rule of thumb. So we're going to stamp that straight down, straight up, but we're going to hold it for a second. Perfect. Wow, that one turned out really good. All right, so let's set that down. So there you go. A nice let's celebrate. But again, we're going to let it dry, and it just so happens I have another one stamped here next to me. So here we go. I'm going to take this one. And let's see, we are going to need a little bit of yellow. So I'm going to put just one drop of yellow in the top right-hand corner of my, my palette. Make sure my brush is nice and clean. And so, you know, you could kind of lighten it with water. And, you know, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to add a little bit of water because I don't want it really dark on the first pass through. So we're going to just kind of lightly color our lettuce, celebrate, with our aqua painter. And remember, it's like a paintbrush, so you want to just be really delicate with the tip of your brush. I just love to keep keep it pointy and keep it fresh and keep it nice. You know, sometimes at my classes and things, I'll find people kind of painting kind of down on it, and it bends the bristles and it gets it kind of messed up. So not always, but on occasion. So just kind of be kind to it and be nice, and it's going to last you a long time. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put a little bit more, keep it a little more concentrated. We're going to dab in the lettuce, and we're just going to kind of go over the lettuce just really quickly, nothing crazy, just real easy. And we're going to come around it just like this. And you can see I'm just highlighting the letters. That's all I'm doing, is just highlighting the letters, kind of coming in here to the sides and adding a little bit of depth. Perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this out. So we're going to cut it out, and you know, you certainly don't have to cut it out. Well, you could just color it straight onto the lettuce, I suppose, but I liked it cut out because I liked it being popped up a little bit. I thought it was really pretty that way. It kind of gave it a little bit more depth and interest. So here I go. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just kind of finishing cutting it out. Now you don't have to get too precise, but just do the best that you can. Now to make our card today, I have got my base, which is what we just colored. I've got an 8.5. Actually, this is 3 by, I think it's 9 3/4. But I will tell you for sure on Brainy'sCards.com. I've prepped it. I've scored it at 4. and then I've scored it again at 8. What I'm going to do is I've just folded this top piece down. I'm going to fold up the bottom piece. I'm going to use some mini glue dots real quick, and I'm going to add those to this inside piece. And by doing that, I am going to be able to close my card, and that way my gift card will be okay. You know, my gift card will sit inside of there. So I've got one more to put on there. Perfect. So we're going to close that up just like that. So that looks really nice. While we're on the inside, I'm going to go ahead and add a little accent, just like that. Perfect. Now I'm going to close this. I have a wild wasabi piece of cardstock that I've cut to size, and I've got some Tombow glue. We're just going to add that straight to the top. It'll look pretty. There we go. I love the different textures and the different layers and the way that this card pops. Now watch, when I put the lettuce on there, holy cow, that just like pops right off with those two-tone colors. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Now I'm going to add a little bit of Tombow glue to my Let Us Celebrate that is yellow. And you can see there that with the lettuce, it's kind of got some darker shades to it. Now I'm going to go ahead and just add some Tombow glue right here to the back of my garden green base. And we're going to add that to my card itself, to the base. There you go. How cool is that? It just pops right off that card when you add the green on there. Fantastic. I absolutely love it. Now, if you find that you get some sploogies that come through here, it is okay. Cut yourself a piece of cream cardstock, very vanilla cardstock, and just glue this right to the top. That's all you have to do is glue it to the top and you will be good to go. Now before you guys go, I hope you've enjoyed today's project. Super fun, really easy to do. You have to give it a try. Play with some fun colors. So let me show you this. Here is I'm Just Right for You. How cute, some fabulous blues. This is Tempting Turquoise, and then of course the strawberries. And I also have Thanks a Bunch, and this was done with Perfect Plum and also Elegant Eggplant. I love all the textures and the depth, and all of these cards were done the exact same way. So I hope that you enjoyed today's watercolor project background. I hope that you give it a try. Stay in touch. Reach out to me. Let me know if you have any questions or if you'd like a catalog. I'd love the opportunity to earn your business. So thank you for stopping by and have a blessed day.